Without further ado, this right here is my playoff prediction. So this year, the conference champions, the highest ranked conference champions, do not automatically get the first round bye. So they get a guaranteed spot, but it is 1 through 12. How it should have been last season. Just the best 12 teams. So here we go. For you listening, this hasn't been spoiled. For you that's watching, this has been spoiled because the whole thing is right here on the screen. Starting off, number 12 Boise State going to Austin, Texas to play the number 5 ranked Texas Longhorns. And then moving on down, we have number 9 Arizona State playing number 8 Notre Dame at Notre Dame. Number 11 Illinois, the Fighting Illini, making it into the playoff. Luke Altmaier, man, getting it done up there. Playing number 6 Oregon. Moving on down to number 10 Miami. So Miami loses in the ACC championship game. They're still good enough to make it in the playoff. They got to play Georgia at Sanford Stadium. Right? So you mean to tell me that Carson Beck transfers out to Miami. Miami makes it to the playoff, and they have to play Georgia at Georgia in the first round. That's what I picked. And would that not be a heck of a sight? Carson Beck entering that environment in Sanford Stadium. That crowd, I'm sure, will not be too favorable for him. So let's move on before I get too excited here. What happens in these games? So, this would be a good time to tell you the 4 byes. Ohio State at 4, Clemson at 3, Penn State at 2, and Alabama at number 1. So the quarterfinals, Texas and Ohio State, Notre Dame and Alabama, Oregon and Clemson, and Georgia and Penn State. I messed that up. Georgia and Penn State. I have Ohio State beating Texas. I have Alabama beating Notre Dame, Clemson falling to Oregon, and Penn State beating Georgia. Gosh, I really should have fixed this graphic. So now the semifinals are Ohio State and Alabama, and Oregon versus Penn State. So now I've got the national title, the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Penn State Nifty Lions. I think Kalen DeBoer is going to redeem himself. He said, "No more will I disappoint my fans. I will carry on the legacy of Nick Saban, and I will be a national champion in my second year after taking the reins from the greatest football coach of all time." Alabama wins the national title from Penn State. Penn State makes it to the big game, but they don't win the big game. Alabama does. Alabama just continuing. You know, it's just like nothing ever happened. It's like Nick Saban never left. 2026 national champions on January 19th, 2026, the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's it. That's my prediction. So, starting off in the first round, number 12 Boise State going to Austin, Texas to play the number 5 ranked Texas Longhorns. Moving on down, number 9 Arizona State at number 8 Notre Dame. Number 11 Illinois, the Fighting Illini, making it to the playoff. Luke Altmaier getting it done, putting the team on his back. They make it in. They got to play number 6 Oregon, though, and that's going to be tough. And then the final first-round playoff game, number 10 Miami. So they lose the ACC championship game, but they're still good enough to make it to the playoffs. All right. You know, Carson Beck, that's good for you, buddy. You got a new like change of scenery, still on a successful team. Who are they going to play? The number 7th ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Miami going to Sanford Stadium to play Georgia in the first round of the playoffs. Are you kidding me? Carson Beck being welcomed home, welcomed back to his old stomping grounds there. Can you imagine, folks, if this happened? I'm sure Carson Beck will be very well received, right? Not. That is exciting right there. That's one of those games that, and if you're like me, you're going through all these scenarios. I'm sure that you get giddy too when you put a couple matchups together and you just imagine seeing that. That's that's some good stuff right there. So as we move on to the quarterfinal playoffs, keep in mind here, the 4 byes are number 1 Alabama, number 2 Penn State, number 3 Clemson, number 4 Ohio State. In the first quarterfinal playoff game, it's Texas and Ohio State. The next one is Notre Dame versus Alabama, then Oregon versus Clemson, then Georgia versus Penn State. My graphic is incorrect here. Oh, no. So, Ohio State beats Texas, Alabama beats Notre Dame, Oregon beats Clemson, and Penn State beats Oregon. So, some good matchups there. Texas and Ohio State, a rematch from week 1. How about them apples? And I don't know about you. Is this Ohio State getting revenge for Texas beating them in week 1? Or is this Ohio State like sealing the deal, beating Texas twice in 1 year? Boy, when you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. The old notion of like, okay, I beat you earlier in the season, you're going to beat me, or we got beat, we're going to beat you the next time we play. Not those things don't apply when you get into this playoff. The stakes are so high. That's going to be a good matchup. Notre Dame and Alabama. This is an old college, national championship game here from years ago where Alabama just wiped Notre Dame off the face of the earth. Alabama wins that game. Oregon beats Clemson. Georgia loses to Penn State. So right now, in the semifinals, you've got Ohio State playing Alabama. Then you've got Oregon playing Penn State. Another rematch from earlier in the season. Alabama beats Ohio State. They move on to the national championship. Penn State beats Oregon. And then you've got the Crimson Tide and the Nittany Lions. What happens? Does James Franklin win the big game here? Does he get the big victory? Does he get put on the mountaintop before he leaves to the SEC? Look, anything can happen. I think James Franklin's going to end up back in the SEC. Or does Kalen DeBoer, in his second season with the Crimson Tide, after taking the reins from Nick Saban, the greatest coach of all time, after the fan base, they won plenty of games, but they lost some games they shouldn't have. Fan base is kind of indifferent. Fan base isn't sure what to think. Fan base lost some games. We don't like losing. No worries, Crimson Tide fans. Alabama wins the national title January 19th, 2026. They add to their trophy case. Kalen DeBoer begins to pave his own way, that it's not just Nick Saban that can win at Alabama. It's not just Bear Bryant that can win at Alabama. There's a third coach that's going to put his name in that hat. It's Kalen DeBoer. New OC coming into town. You got Ty Simpson at quarterback. The run game's going to improve. The defense is going to be nasty. Ty Simpson going to be able to open up that pass with all that running game. Alabama fights through. They beat Penn State. They become the national champions. And there you have it. I'd like to see your predictions. I want to see your brackets because everybody with internet, everybody with a device has been creating their own playoff brackets, their own predictions of the season. So why not? This is mine. I'd really like to see yours.